named after Nootka Sound along Vancouver Island, where it was first botanically documented. Alaskans use the name yellow-cedar, but really, a name is just a name. What mattered to me from the beginning was that these trees are long-lived and that, though they are coveted for their golden wood and culturally revered for their majestic and mysterious ways, they are dying in our warming world. "Get ready to soak it in," Ashley said, as the floats lifted from the water. She wiggled her knees in anticipation. The plane swooped around to head west, and I watched the bright blue glacier outside Juneau shrink into the distant landscape. Base camps, I thought. Eyes open for good base camps. Coves far from creeks to avoid the bears. Big sloping beaches for boat and plane landings. Safety was a legitimate concern out there. I could get stranded by a turn in weather, run out of food, or startle a bear, inadvertently inciting an attack. "Think stratified random sample," Ashley said, snapping me back to scientific protocols. 2 years into graduate school, I was finally accustomed to translating science. Stratified, meaning I needed forest sites I could categorize into specific groups based on the presence and severity of the tree death. Random, meaning I needed a way to select sites that could give every patch of forest an equal shot at getting picked. Patches, I thought, simplifying things. We're looking for the large patches of dead trees. I looked down at the sea of whitecaps and wondered what we'd face in the months ahead. Then, after squinting at the green in an attempt to differentiate the tree species, I took the lens cap off my camera to snap a few photographs. I waited patiently and scanned the passing coastline for the cypress. Despite how much I had prepared, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into, scientifically, physically, or emotionally. In the maps I held, I'd traced black lines around the dead trees from various datasets. The plan was to fly over them. I'd confirmed they were there in reality, and not just in pixels. Dead by the telltale signs, brown foliage and leafless branches, limbs lost to decay. Then eventually, 1 week, 2 weeks, or even 7 weeks later, I'd reach a subset of them by foot and kayak with my crew to measure the dead and dying and whatever we found still green. We had about 30 minutes until the plane reached Chichagof Island, the place where I really needed to pay attention. Testing my skills, I followed our flight path on the pilot's screen, trying to match our location with the maps on my lap, and then verify with the view below. I managed to keep up for a solid 10 minutes, not because I was skilled at the task, but because we flew mostly over water. Pretty soon I was totally lost, unable to reorient from the screen, the maps, or the view, and feeling nauseous. I reached up and opened the small vent beside the window, angling the air toward me. Ashley's face looked pale. "How you feeling back there?" Avery asked through the audio crackle. "Just fine. Little air seems nice," I said, hoping to avoid any mockery. "Like vomiting," Ashley reported. "And I don't see any patches yet." I closed my eyes and breathed deeply to calm the queasiness. When I finally opened them again, confident I wouldn't hurl, I didn't need to look at the maps or the screen to know where we were. "Whoa!" I exclaimed into the headset. We were flying across a long, narrow artery of salt water running into the forested land. "Peril Strait," I said. "We're in the heart of it now," Paul declared. He sounded almost proud. To the left, the verdant coastline broke off into inlets and side channels. To my right, I could see the steep hillsides covered in white skeletons of dead trees, standing on end like telephone poles, leafless ghosts of the towering cypress. Boulder-sized rocks on the beaches looked like little specks in relation to the large tracts of terrain with dying trees, the canopies of foliage in faded sepia tone. I had been so focused on building a sound scientific study that wouldn't get me or my crew killed that I hadn't given much thought to what I would feel when I first saw the dead. From the bird's eye view, the giant trunks looked like thousands of toothpicks stuck in the earth. If trees were people, anyone would have called it a tragedy, an epidemic running rampant throughout the